So the beta is coming to an end, and as you can see, I have made top 16 in RTA, which qualifies me to the Etheria World Summit. As you can see, it's an exceptionally well, ranking 11 among all hyperlinkers, right? And these are my rewards. So you can see that I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff here, right? It won't show anymore, but it will. Let me see if I can see ranks. No, you can't see the ranks anymore, but you can see that I ended 11th place. I'll put a screenshot right up here so that you guys can see. But yeah, so the real question is, how did I do it, right? But before we do that, let me just change the profile picture, the avatar frame, because I got it, right? Let's grab that. Damn, that looks good. That looks sick. Okay, now I'm gonna go through all my units, the units I used, and we're gonna talk from there. Okay, now this is the very first beta that I've played, so I've made a whole bunch of mistakes in the last 2 to 3 days of playing the beta, but eventually you have to learn, right? And I was going up against a lot of players who have already played the beta 2 to 3 times, and the grind was hard. I'll give you that much. All right, the fights were a little bit skewed in terms of shell difference and gear difference or module differences. So let's take a look at what I have here. All right, so let's start off with Messiah. You can see this is how I built my Messiah. Right, he's built on Onslaught Swift Rush, because that was what I was mainly farming. I was trying to farm Doki for the speed gear, and then realized that most of your speed comes from shells, right? And you're only supplementing your speed on your shells with your speed set. So that was the first mistake I did, not focusing too much on Terramaton so that I could clear Doki faster or clear Aurora so that I could farm for better, modules. Or even farming the shells, because I completely neglected the shells for a long time until I realized that my speed was not going anywhere farming Doki. Okay, so this is what I have on Messiah. I've made him relatively high crit rate because I didn't want to rely on the fact that I had to draft Grey in RTA, right? Because I'm a seasoned RTA player. I played Epic 7, I've been Legend for 4 times in a row over there. I played this like when they had RTA, PvP, and I was, rank 1 for many seasons. Outer Plane had RTA, even that I was top 10, because the RTA there is a lot different and there is a lot of mischance in whether you hit or you crit and stuff like that. So there's a lot more RNG factors to it, but as you can see, I've ended 11th place here, so I'm a pretty consistent top 10 finisher. So that's why I made him crit, high crit, because I want him to be able to crit by himself, right? And this is the highest I could go with only 9 days to spare. I would definitely have more on him. So with the prowess, I only made sure I got his speed here, because this will help me cheat out more speed, even though my gear is not good enough, or modules. With the shells, this is what I'm rocking with. I decided not to fully awaken all these shells, because I realized that you can only get up to 35 speed. Actually, you know what I need to do? I need you to be a little quiet here. Let's turn off the voice. Let's go back to the analysis. Okay. So as you can see here, I'm rocking with the crit rate, because it rolled crit rate. I never reconfigured this, so I just said, what, I'll just take this. This is good enough for him. Okay. Does he need to be super fast? Probably not. He just needs to be, moving, and that's the most important thing, right? So I gave him that. There is a little bit of health on him here. I didn't decide to fully finish this, because this is not a very good piece to begin with anyway. It's an outstanding, it is not a mythic anyway. So, and it didn't roll crit rate. So I didn't want to, waste all that coins into this and not get a crit rate. So I just used what I had here get him a little bit more defense at plus 12 when I tested it, and that's it. I left it there. So this is one of the my main DPS that I use. Tiamat is the next one. Okay. I'm running Bramble speed on her, right? So I'm running her a little bit fast with the chance to proc Bramble. This was farmed on, you know, the second last day when I unlocked the L4 and the 2x was running her, the event, the 2 times drop. So I managed to get a decent-ish piece, right? As long as I had accuracy to land some taunts, there was speed and there was, you know, road HP. I just took it, right? This one also had accuracy and it rolled speed at the on the third roll, but that is, you know, it's a 3 module, so I just needed 2 plus my shell and I had the Bramble. And Bramble Tiamat is really strong, I'll tell you that much. One wrong proc, right? One wrong proc of counter attack at the wrong time for the opponent, they are finished. They are finished. Okay, with the prowess, I did the same thing here. I got the HP, right? I didn't finish this because I don't have any more Latizes. And then with here, this is where I messed up, right? I used this Latize wrong, in the wrong spot. I don't know what I was thinking here. I was probably trying to go for the speed here, but I didn't manage to do it because I was, you know, really scarce on resources. So I should have stopped here and, you know, put the Latize somewhere else. With the shell, I'm running Alucon on her because of the Swift Rush Bramble. But what I will be doing at full launch is I'll be actually using Amber on her. This one, okay? Because if you read what Amber does, it says when the owner animus is about to die, half its current turn meter, remove all effects and recover 50% of the max HP. And awaken, it will be 60% of the max HP and put them in an ice state. So if you guys don't know the interaction here, what happens is if you actually manage to nuke Tiamat, she would most likely be on like 6 stacks of bloodshed, right? She'll be probably on 6 stacks of bloodshed if you build her right. And because she'll be on 6 stacks of bloodshed, because of the wording on Amber, it says when the animus is about to die, so you don't actually die, right? So you still have your bloodshed, and then you heal 60% of your HP, which takes you immediately to 8 or more bloodshed stacks, right? Push your turn meter back, you get into dragon form because of your bloodshed, you completely ignore the half the turn meter effect, and you get out of ice immediately in dragon form. And because you are technically dead, you lose all your bloodshed, but you're in dragon form, so you get to AoE once, and then get all your HP back, and then you revert back to your normal state. That is so fucking busted. That just gives you a second chance on Tiamat. And Tiamat is not an easy unit to kill, let me tell you that. So if you manage to get rid of her, you have to get rid of her a second time, good luck. So at launch, I'll probably be using the Amber Shell on her. If the interaction stays the same like this and they don't change anything, this is probably the best shell on her. Okay, Alucon is nice and all getting to remove debuffs, but if you're playing Tiamat, you are already getting rid of debuffs with healers. So having this here is just a little bit of an overkill in my opinion. Next one we have Hellkit. So this is how I run my Hellkit. I run Hellkit as my fastest unit. This was as fast as I could go. This is my fastest set, right? Because Hellkit puts on the Shroud Barrier, which is basically an immunity against debuff as long as you have this barrier for 3 turns. And I don't have any Bulwark here. I don't have any immunity here. So what I did was I made him my fastest unit so that I could get the immunity up and stop all the debuffs going forward, and also to make sure that my Messiah could get a turn, you know, with the shield on him. So this is what I'm running on him. You know, I just make sure I had the speed, and then whatever the fastest speed gear I had at that slot, I just slotted it in. Yeah, as you can see. My gear is not the fastest, but it's something. At least it got me, you know. A lot of people will never ban Hellkit because they will ban your speed initiator that they deem it to be. And so the Hellkit always got through. And if I outsped their CC unit, like, you know, Marvell, Kraken, who else? Some people were using RC77, some people were using Obo. If I outspeed any of them and I have Hellkit moving first, the entire team basically shuts down because you ban the DPS and you speed contested. With the prowess, I did the same thing here. I got the speed over here. And with the shell, I had to re-roll this to make sure I got the shadow dash, but I didn't get the very good one, so he's still a little slow. Overclocking is so good for him because he scales off attack. Moving forward, I'm probably going to run him, you know, still speedy, but I'm going to run him more of a bruiserish unit, not so much of the, you know, the damage one. So I'm going to bump up his attack a little bit more and his HP. So his right side is probably going to go more something like attack HP here, okay? And then I'll try to get crit rate from wherever my substats allows me to get. And that should take me to about this anyway, right? To about 40% crit rate with, like, you know, maybe 30% crit damage extra. And that should be more than enough, as long as you get the attack high enough. Because you want to do most of your damage with White Fang or another DPS shell. So your job as playing as Hellkit is just to put on the barrier. It's just to attack down and to stun. There is an argument to run him on Bramble. Because if you attack into him while he still has this thick ass shield, this proc is a 100% proc and he has the Shroud barrier. So that's something that I will have to see what happens in full launch when I get my gear. Okay, Hellkit. This is what I have on my Hellkit. I'm running him on Bramble because his S1, right, has a 40% chance to dispel. It goes up to 50%, but I didn't have the dealer Tices to get him there. But the idea is, if you want to attack into me and AoE into me and you want to put up buffs, there is a chance that I can counterattack and strip, you know, that buff off you. So that was what I was using him for, because he is our premier AoE dispeller. And he puts up, you know, buff block. He puts up last word so that you can, you know, hit harder against them. And he even puts up, you know, unhealable, right? Wound, they call it here. So this actually helps fighting against Tiamat a lot when you have him, right? So sometimes you don't even want to start with this. You just want to start with this and make sure you land the wound on Tiamat, right? You ban the healer, and then she can't heal, so she can't transform. With so I already talked about the modules. With the modules, I'm still contemplating going Bramble for the full launch, but you definitely need speed on him. So it will be some form of 12-8-6, right? It will probably be the one from Aurora that gives him effect accuracy, Bramble, and speed on him. For the shells, I was running Unicorn because Unicorn has Bramble. And it also helps me clear debuffs in case, you know, because he's moving, he stays a lot faster than all my healers. So I need him to be, you know, be a bit more self-sufficient to clear off the ice, the stuns, right? So I just had to make sure that that's all the debuffs they had, so that he can go off and then he can put on all of his debuffs. The next unit is Grey. I use Grey when I'm, you know, going really aggressive against my opponent. So this is what I'm using on him. This doesn't really matter, to be honest, and I just needed this to complete the 12th speed set on him, right? But this is what I'm rocking on him, you know, 74% crit chance. I could lower this a little bit more so that he has 100% crit. And if it crits, he's 100% chance to land defense break, right? On a critical hit. So we're rocking this setup on him. So we have crit damage, crit rate, and attack, right? With the shell, we are running the Twilight Knight because the defense down on this is really nice, because how you play thing is you're going to go S2 into S3, and when you S2 you get another turn, and so Twilight Knight will proc, and if one of them gets the defense break, there is a good chance you're nuking that unit. So this is not bad to be put on him. If there is a mythic version of it, use that one. Okay, I haven't come across it yet because I didn't get that far. With his thing, all I did was I made sure his S2 and S3 were, you know, max level so that we get the reduced cooldown, and make sure that they both were at the same time because you have to have them in sync. But that's about it with Grey. Now, Rahu is my next unit that I use a fair bit when I'm trying to play tanky, right? So when I get the chance to pick Freya, I'm always picking Rahu because he is a defense scaler, and you can always start Freya with, you know, your S2, put up the defense buff, make sure he's cleansed and stuff like that. So this is what I'm rocking on him. This is what I have. Okay, it's not the best. He's also not fully leveled, so, you know, there are some stats missing, guaranteed. But this is what I have on him. I'm running Unbreakable Defense, Bramble on him. Bramble on him is so good because he already dual attack. There's a chance for him to, you know, assist attack with his rest stacks. And if you attack into him and he counters attacks and he puts up defense down on you, you're kind of finished at that point because he hits pretty damn hard with rest stacks. So same thing here. I went for the speed on this so that, you know, he moves a little bit faster. I don't want him to be such a snail where he can't shake off debuffs, especially if Marvell goes and puts on the slow debuff on him. He's never taking a turn if you run him, you know, slow. With the shell, he always has to be Artisan anyway because it gives a massive shield, right? Base up to 380% of his own defense, and I'm not even fully level 40 awakened because this goes up to 440% of his defense. That is massive. This also isn't ideal, the passive, but I did get this, so I kept it. Freya. So Freya is a unit I pick, and she's not even the fastest. She's only about, what, 234 speed here. But all you really want is you want effect accuracy on her. Okay, so I got this piece relatively late, and by that time I didn't have enough gold to push this any further, and there's no reason to do it now. But I used this for RTA, and to people's surprise, this actually performed pretty well. Because if you're playing her offensively, you can always start with your S3, right, to give the attack up. And if you're playing a little bit more defensively with Freya, you can always start with your S2, right, to push. So that's how I played Freya. There's not much to talk about. Elecon as well, I put this on him because she is the fastest unit if I were to pick her, right, next to Hellkit. And if she gets to cleanse the debuff, I get to either, you know, I definitely get to put on some Dream Weaves onto my units so that I protect my other units from any other debuff that's coming, and the defense up so that they get to take a turn. Marvell is the next unit that I will use to speed contest people at times. He stonks dropped into the fucking drain at the end of the RTA season because everyone started to tank up thanks to us having Linglaw and Sania. But he is still a very good unit, especially when you're playing against people who are fast. When you know that they are playing fast, you pick Marvell, they are going to try to speed contest you, then I will pick my Hellkit, they will ban Marvell, and then Hellkit goes, puts up the immunity, and then they can't play anymore. That was my strategy, right? Because my units, as you can see, they're not leveled properly. Because I did a lot of mistakes. You can see like Freya is not even star upgraded because I don't have any more of those stuff. This is level 24, level 35, level 43, right? And so I had to do a lot of, you know, big brain counter drafting plays and really understanding how my opponent wants to play and reading the draft on the second pick, really. So I use Marvell for that very reason, because he is a targeted ban. If people don't play Bulwark, which I don't think a lot of people were running Bulwark, only Seishizo was actually running it. Marvell was getting through, wasn't getting through. So he was also just on whatever leftover speed stats that I had. You can see my speed is not fantastic on this, right? It's just something to get me by. So I put on the factor accuracy on him to make sure he gets his S3 off, because if he gets his S3 off, chances are you're probably going to win. With the shells, we're still running the black flag because of the speed up here. There is a mythic version of this which I will upgrade to, but in the future I would not pay so much attention to Marvell, especially in full launch, because by the time you're ready to play RTA, this guy will be relegated to a PvE only unit. Okay, so for PvE this works wonders already. This is enough. But of course, as you get more and more spare modules and better modules than what you have, upgrade them. Okay, take care of your Marvell. He's actually really good. I didn't use Born, I didn't use Viper. Next one, it will be Linglaw. So with Linglaw, I was running her on Swift Rush Bulwark, right? Because my Bulwark set is not great, so I had to, and I didn't have any of the 3 set of the speed, so I couldn't get the 12, the full 35% speed. So she should be about 100 something, because I wanted to move really fast. So the entire idea here is that if she's the only one that cannot be controlled and she's the first one to be moving on my team, besides what's this called? Besides Hellkit, all my other units are going to heal up. They're going to get immunity. That means if they are going to get a second rotation, that guaranteed. And it's most important, especially when I play Messiah. So if Messiah can take a turn, he will put up invincibility, and then when it rotates round to Linglaw, she can use her S2 and prolong, right? Extend the duration of the buffs, which is the invulnerability buff on Messiah, which is huge, because that means your Messiah cannot die anymore, right? And if Messiah gets off a second S3, chances are you're dead. Chances are you're pretty dead. Okay, so I'm running her on Supernova because of the Bulwark here. This is the best I could get on him, on her with the Supernova. So I just have to make do with 10 days, right? And I didn't even get her to like the 7th day. Next one will be Sania. As you can see, my Sania is not even fully leveled too, so I'm missing a lot of stats everywhere. So you can see that I run her really fast, because if you're playing against Cleave and she cuts in between your units, their units, you pretty much win. Because you're going to top up everything, and they've already blown 2 out of 4 units S3. That means the next rotation is not going to be as strong anymore. And there's a chance that their shell has also been used, so it's on cooldown. So if Sania is able to cut Gigabyte, you are pretty safe, to be honest. So this one I'm running on her. She's not having the best gear, because I didn't really care so much about the Cure set, right? But my Gigabyte was a Swift Rush Cure, so that's why I went with the Cure set over here when I was doing the Hyperlink Charter, and I had to do Terramaton, so I just put whatever I had on her, and I just made sure I focus on the speed here, right? Because as long as she gets to move, that's all that matters really. The next unit that I use is with this I made sure that her S3 was completely cooled down, so that I can spam S3, and her S1 I made sure I had the speed here. And it's pretty easy to do that on SRs, because you get a whole bunch of these lattices. Okay, now Sukiomi is my second fastest unit, because if I were to play aggressive, I'm definitely picking a combo between, if I'm second pick and I'm picking 3-4 or 1-2, I can always go Messiah Sukiomi, and that guarantees me a combo of a DPS combo. Or if I'm going picking her a 3-4, then my 1-2 could be like, let's say, a Tiamat Sania, which is another combo that you will have to deal with, right? Because you will, if you're picking second, you're picking in pair. So the best way to do that is to pick combos, right? And then eventually try to overlap the combos. And so I made her my second fastest, because if she gets to move, that means my Messiah gets to move, and my Messiah will be safe for a long time. Okay? So she also, her S2 is also a cooldown skill. So what you can do is you can S3, you can cool down, you can S2, and then you can S3 again immediately, right? It's kind of nuts. So you skip a whole rotation on Messiah, going S3, S2, S1, S3. You can just go S3, S2, S3, and there's a chance that your S2 is going to kill someone, so you just prolong your vulnerability, your invulnerability buff. And then you S3 again, then you stack it on, and then he will have like 3-4 fucking stacks of invulnerability, and good luck killing him then, right? So Sukiomi was really is really an important unit, especially with the prowess. You can see that I went strictly for the speed only, because I was running out of Latices here. Like I said, I messed up early. Okay, because if I could have gotten it up to here, that would have been great, right? Even here, to be honest, the cooldown reduction doesn't matter so much, not so early into the game. But if I could have gotten that, that would have been great, right? If you can read her skill 3 here, you can see she says she gains allies 60% and applies attack up for 2 turns, right? So that's insane. That's insane. The other unit I used somewhat was Valerian. And I only started using Valerian once I got her S3 to the max, because you need to start with this. If you're playing, and I made her my slowest unit, okay, because I don't want her to take a turn as often as you can, right? I'm running Gigabyte on her, but that's only because I'm trying to match my the cure set here, which I didn't even successfully do. And I was also running Elder Shells. But the entire idea of playing Valerian is you want to make her slow. You want her to sit on Hazy Dream for a long ass time, because she cannot be controlled. And as your units take turns, they get basic buffs, right? And eventually, when she actually takes her turn, finally, she can equalize everything, all the HP, and then sit there again with Hazy Dream forever. And if someone were to die, she gets out of Hazy Dream, right? And she protects someone, and by then you will have invincibility and put heal over time on them. Okay, so that was the idea of playing Valerian. So I used this successfully, I think 3 games, when people were trying to play really CC, and they were they had no damage. So that's when Valerian really kicked in for me, because they couldn't kill my units, she couldn't be controlled, she couldn't be manipulated. She just sat there, and then as my units kept taking turns, they kept getting buffs, and then slowly but surely, they get out of the debuffs, and they couldn't really die. And then eventually I equalized everything, and then I just, clapped them back. So that was literally all the units I used. I didn't use Born, even though I, got him to 5-star level 30, which was a waste. I only recently just built Viper, because my tank game was pretty as you can see, my units are not, I only am playing with what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 units, right? And they're not even properly built. You can see Sukiomi, 21 out of 45. Everything is all over the shop. But the entire idea was I was really focused on trying to get into the, Etheria World Summit, so I was aiming for the top 16. So not knowing what I was doing in this game actually hurt me a little bit, but at the same time I learned so much, so that by full launch I will be prepared. And if you want to watch that video, I will be making one very shortly. But this will be it, right? As you can see, this is what I've gotten. You can see that my challenges, I've not really done much, right? I can clear Hell 3 or Terramator. I haven't even tried Hell 4. I can clear Hell 4, I can clear Hell 1, right? You can see I've not really pushed in this PvE content because my focus was really in PvP. Okay, and I didn't know what I was doing half the time, so I was just, you know, mucking around, wasting stamina, and yeah. But now I know. Okay, so that's how I got into top 16. It was literally a whole bunch of, you know, outdrafting players, right? I don't know if I can show you a few here with the battle report. So let me see. So you can see, right? I'll go Marvell because I knew that I played him a fair few times, right? You can see, and I knew that he was going to play speed. So, whoops. So you can see that's how I played. You can see I took the Marvell, I took the Hellkit because I wanted to, you know, protect myself from Nightmare because I knew that his were pretty fast. Then I took the combo here, and then I took the Heinrich at the end, right, to strip off all, to stop the crit rate buff from Grey. Okay, this Doki came out of nowhere, so I got scared, so I disbanded. Right, you can see that didn't happen here. I knew his Kraken was one of the fastest, right? So that's why I picked the way like this, right? But you can see that his entire unit here, all his units here are all squishy. So all I had to do was just push them back, rotate around, what's the name? Hellkit and Marvell, and I just win. Okay. Same thing here. You can see that, you know, if I get first pick, I'm always taking Tiamat so that people will start playing, you know, fast. And then all I really have to do is just, you know, make sure I protect my DPS, right, with double healers, and I just outlive him from there, right? This pool here, there is no way he can actually kill any of these units. It's impossible. Not when Linglaw is, you know, going to, you know, top them up. Sania is going to purify, right? And there is a good chance he's going to purify the ice, because Linglaw will already purify something. Okay, so that's how I was playing it, right? You can see I lost one game here because I banned the Lily instead of the Kraken, and his Kraken was way faster than my Hellkit. So I just lost that one. Right? So I lost a few games, right? And that was also mainly because I don't know what was happening. Like his RC, like this guy I played it, he played RC77, and his RC77 is so fast that it was faster than my Hellkit, and he just stunned my Hellkit, and I just couldn't win from there, right? Because that was the entire point of the game, right? My Hellkit goes, puts everything up, my Freya then, you know, does all the debuffs, I survive, I lap around, and then I just, you know, whirl him down one by one because he doesn't have enough damage to kill me. Not when I have double healers. But if he stops this, then I just can't play because Kraken goes off, right? Lien steals third meter, and then Ditting is just going to, you know, snipe things down slowly. Okay? But you can see, right? You can see the clear gap between my units, right? I have a level 42, a level 27, a level 21, 5-star, and 2 6-stars here, and I'm going up against a whole bunch of 6-stars up here, right? And this guy is the rank 1. So there is a lot to, I had to really outplay here, right? You can see that I was playing double combo into a niche pick, and he was just going straight for the Lily Rahu combo where the dual attack galore happens. So that is my experience with RTA. It's extremely fun. That's the only reason I play this game. But yes, and if you guys want to watch my streams, make sure you guys check me out on Abstract. You know, you can see the website. I stream exclusively on Abstract, so be there if you want to watch my streams. And till then, I'll see you in the next video.